Hey there guys and gals, welcome back to Back Pocket Game Reviews. And today we're going to talk a little bit about why is it that GameStop is dying? Why are they becoming less relevant? And this is something that I stated we were going to talk about back when they were talking about bringing back Power Pass and a lot of that other stuff that's kind of going down currently with them. Also, just as a heads up and a friendly reminder, if you enjoyed these videos, don't forget to drop a thumbs up because that's kind of what makes me keep putting content out, and it also helps me grow my audience and helps more people see the videos that I am making. So I appreciate that for those of you who do that for me. Also, if you're new here, don't forget to click the subscribe button and ding the bell if you really like the content. That way you can obviously get some kind of notification when I make more of it. So let's break this down as several different sections of why GameStop is currently failing. And the first and most obvious reason is, well, obviously investors are now starting to get spooked. This is something that's been ongoing since the buyout, and obviously GameStop had a lot of issues with actually finding a buyer because they felt they were worth more than what anyone was willing to pay for them. That's really where the big issue comes in with the buyout. So after the buyout kind of failed, because you saw their stock kind of like going like this a bunch during that time period, GameStop stock, when I actually worked for them, was up around $25, $26 a share. It's quite a bit. That's pretty decent. Well, GameStop stock is currently down around $10 to $11 a share, which is a huge drop, seeing as that it's only been about 3 or 4 years that I haven't been with the company. Literally right around when I made my first GameStop video was right around when I had left GameStop as a corporation. So don't get me wrong, I enjoyed my time there, but obviously I've kind of talked about a lot of the things that bothered me, and it should probably make sense to a lot of you to why I'm no longer with them. Now, investors get spooked for a lot of different reasons. Same store sales are down year over year, so if you're losing market share, you're not growing, even though GameStop does have a decent payout for some of their investors. So if you do own stocks, you are getting a decent amount of money back from your stocks. Their payouts are all right. The issue is how much longer does the company have, and when's the best time to sell and just kind of fold your cards and go, I'm good, I'm done, I can walk away from this. And a lot of the investors currently, as we've talked about in the recent hostile takeover video, literally that was like a video or two ago. So we talked about how some of the investors are now kind of contemplating, well, a hostile takeover. And GameStop has a lot of investor groups that have shares in that company. So if those investors start to get spooked, they could mount a hostile takeover, which could completely change corporate as a whole. Now, last year we also remember they got a new CEO. That CEO literally stepped down after like a month or so. The previous CEO before that passed away. They lost money from their cell phone business and wound up having to sell it, and still declared a loss for that quarter, even after selling that cell phone business for a lot of money. So that's kind of where investors are starting to get spooked. That's kind of why they're starting to want to pull away from GameStop and get rid of their sales, get rid of their stocks. That's why you're starting to see a lot of investors say, hey, we need a change in direction. You're not doing enough to really shake things up or to even innovate business outside of adding toys. Literally, that's what most investors say was the last big thing that GameStop brought in was toys and collectibles. Now, not only that, but you also have a lot of other issues where GameStop isn't the #1 place for consumers to want to shop. So as a consumer, do I want to go to a place who tends to be a little steeper in price and is going to badger me the entire time I'm in the store about pre-orders, rewards cards, GPGs, what the hell else are they currently pitching? At least I don't get badgered about a cell phone plan anymore, because that used to be something when I was there that we used to have to do. But recently, one of the things that I absolutely hated having to do is now back. I know because I received this call. I went into GameStop and put $5 down on the Division 2, which is what I'm playing right now. By the way, if you're playing the Division 2 on Xbox, you should join the BPGR clan so we can grind it out, get a whole bunch of loot stuff. If you want to follow me on Xbox, my link is in The description box down below is my gamertag. But join the BPGR clan. It's set to open. We'll grind it out. We'll get a bunch of stuff in Division 2. So, as I was saying though, consumers don't really like shopping there, and for a lot of different reasons. As I was saying though, with I put $5 down on the division, I received a call. I get a call from GameStop, and we used to have these things called call lists, and hey, are you coming to the midnight release? And it's like, no, I already bought the game digitally. Sorry, it's already pre-installed. I don't have to come there. And that's another big thing. You don't have to go buy a game. There is a convenience issue there. There's just too many other options for me to want to go to GameStop, give them all my information, be harassed. The worst one was the cold calls. We would have to call them and be like, hey, I saw you bought Legend of Zelda. I can make a time for you to come in and come trade that in, so we'll give you $30 for it. Yeah, they're so down in people selling them stuff that we used to have to call them and be like, hey, I saw you recently bought this. That's terrible. That is literally one of the worst practices ever. Like, it's not just creepy that I'm now calling you saying, hey, I saw that you bought this. Why don't you come trade it because we want to sell it again? That's what it is. I'm literally trying to call you to bring in something we want for you to sell. I know that seems really weird, and I was supposed to schedule a time, and I was supposed to be your trade ambassador. Call lists were the scummiest thing to me, at least that I hated doing. I don't like cold calls. I don't even like warm calls to begin with. Just don't call me. There's no need for you to call me. I know my game is ready to come pick up. And don't get me wrong, if you have the app, it even sends you a message. But no, they still call me. Like, isn't there a way to track to see that, hey, he has the app, maybe we just don't need to call him? Nope, still get the call. But there's no price match policy. There's a lot of terrible issues with returns, and I get it. New games aren't able to be returned once they're open. They can be exchanged for a like item. That is a software policy that almost every company has. But there's a lot of issues with GameStop as a whole and just bad customer service. I mean, literally, you can go on to YouTube and find hundreds of videos about bad customer service at GameStop. I mean, I even had the 11-year-old boy that got stuff stolen from him from GameStop with the DLC card. It's bad. Like, it is really bad. I'm not the only one who can tell you about these stories. There are lots of people out there. I do like when you guys message me some of your GameStop stories, though, and sometimes they wind up in videos. I think there's been 2 so far that weren't my stories that I told. Now, so you got investors getting spooked, you've got bad customer service, and that's the one thing right now. There are 2 ways as a retailer you can survive. Either you have to be cheaper than everywhere else, which GameStop does not achieve. Even with used games, usually I can find a new copy cheaper than GameStop is selling it for used. Follow me on Twitter, you've seen me share the posts where even they sometimes sell the new copy more than they do used. And I've talked about why that is. Still makes them look stupid. At very least, it makes them look stupid. So, if you don't have people coming in the door to spend money there, that's a big problem. GameStop's not the cheaper route. GameStop isn't providing you the better service over anyone else. So what's to stop you from going somewhere else and buying it? Most retailers are focusing on service, but most retailers also have a price match policy, at least making them able to match anyone else's price. Store I work for, customer service is our big priority. Even when we're not cheaper though, we offer price matching. Most companies even price match Amazon these days, so, you know, it is what it is. And the third and most obvious final reason is digital games. And a lot of you might go, oh, but digital games haven't overtaken. It was estimated that about 40% of console games were sold last year digitally. 40%. That might not sound that huge. That still means that obviously the largest number is coming from physical. But 40% 5 years ago wasn't what was being sold digital. Not on console. GameStop still had a huge part of that market. And digital games are a double-edged sword for GameStop. It causes 2 problems. Now I'm not coming to you to buy a new game, which they don't make a lot of money on to begin with, so that's not the biggest of the problems. And I've gone mostly digital because it lets me pre-install, so when I want to stream at midnight, the release of the game, it's already installed. I don't have to do anything. It's ready to go. I come home, I stream, I'm done. Which I will be streaming later tonight on Twitch. I'll be playing some more of The Division 2. So now, the other big issue with digital games for GameStop is this. So let me add a little more to that. I don't have to go get badgered. I just buy the game. It's good. And here's where the double-edged sword comes in. I'm cool with buying digital because even if I wanted to trade it to GameStop, I get almost nothing out of it. Literally, it takes like 3 or 4 games for you to trade, even on a good day, for you to pay for 1 new game. I am giving you 3 or 4 games to equal 1 new game. But now, if people are starting to buy digital, if you have 40% of games being sold digitally, how few used games are going to be on GameStop shelves? This is kind of where it becomes that double-edged sword. If I'm not buying new and physical, and I'm not trading it to GameStop because I didn't even buy a physical copy to trade to them, now they have less used games on the wall. So that's why I'm saying this is not just a one-parted issue. Used games are where all their money comes from. Plus, a lot of these digital games, they go on sale cheaper than what GameStop will ever touch on used. I got the Uncharted collection for like $4.99. It's just some of these sales go so low that GameStop can't touch them. So if you're going to offer it to me cheaper, if you're not going to badger me, Sony doesn't call me up like, hey, we saw you pre-ordered. No, it's just installed on my console and it's ready to go. So they don't call me up and go, hey, it's time to renew your Power Up Rewards Pro card. It sounds terrible because I'm like, oh man, we're not interacting as humans, but here's essentially GameStop harassing me as a human. It's kind of how it feels. So I can get around that just by, well, buying digitally. So I do think it's smart for GameStop to bring about this whole rental program that they're starting to supposedly bringing back. Just because that might help at least stave off them dying. I don't want them to die. I would like to see them change for the better, but I don't think they will unless they were to have went private as a company, because a lot of the things they would have to do to change are going to spook investors, because a lot of times you're going to stave off some sales and you might have some things go poorly in that time. Best Buy did it, but Best Buy is also now kind of switching gears again. So it's kind of hard to explain. Guys, as I said though, if you enjoyed the video, thumbs up. If you're new, subscribe. Links are as always in the description box down below. Patreon, Teespring, all my merchandise, all that stuff. I'll see you all soon. I'll have plenty more content coming for you, and stick around.